Regular meeting number 30 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. O loving and gracious God, members of Columbus City Council meet again in session to conduct the business of our city and make decisions for the common good of all of our citizens. In this beautiful month of June, we are aware of the many young men and women and boys and girls who are graduating from college, high school, and elementary school these last weeks of May and the early part of June. We pray for these children and young people and hope and pray that they will experience success in their lives as they walk into the future. At the same time, Lord, we're aware of those still suffering from natural disasters, particularly our brothers and sisters in Oklahoma who have endured 2 very destructive tornadoes. We pray for the peaceful repose of the souls of those who have died, as well as for the consolation of their grieving families. May people of goodwill help them as they rebuild their lives. In all things, Lord, give all of us a heart for the sufferings of our brothers and sisters and a determination to do all that we can to help lift the burden of sorrow and loss from their shoulders. In all things, good Lord, we look to you for guidance and assistance, confident that you hear and listen to our prayers. Amen.
Craig Klein, Miller Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
So move.
Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
This time, I request that Resolution 124X-2013 be removed from the consent action portion of the agenda. Are there any resolutions or announcements from members of council? Councilmember Craig.
Thank you, President Ginther. Tonight I have the privilege of hearing from Franklin County Recorder Terry Brown, who has an extremely important initiative to assist the veterans in Franklin County. He has announced this important new program to help Central Ohio veterans more conveniently access benefits and discounts at participating retail and commercial businesses. And I had the opportunity to attend one of the sessions at Veterans Memorial, and there were hundreds and hundreds of veterans, men and women who have served our nation to participate in this most important endeavor. Welcome to Council, Recorder, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther, President Pro Tem Miller, Councilman Craig, and members of council. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you briefly this evening. Our veterans have sacrificed a great deal in order to preserve the freedoms on which our nation was founded. I know the sacrifice our veterans have made. My great-grandfather served in World War II, and when he came back, my grandmother took to caring for him and several other World War II veterans in her home rather than sending them into assisted living or a nursing home because of the problems that they came back with. And she cared for them until the day that they all passed. Many restaurants and retail establishments, as you mentioned, do offer discounts to our veterans as a small token of gratitude for their service. However, many of those individuals do not have the identification necessary because many of these establishments require photo ID. So unless you have your original military ID or you qualify for veterans benefits, there's no photo identification available to you. In addition, proof of military service is necessary for other benefits such as military honors at a funeral. And as I'm sure you're aware, a disproportionate amount of our homeless population are also veterans. For these individuals, providing photo identification in any situation can be extremely difficult, where the cost for a state ID can be about $8.50. That's a large sum of money for someone who has to pray every day whether or not they'll be able to put food in their own belly. When I was elected to this office in November of last year, I immediately set out to talk to other county recorders to find out how they ran their offices and what programs they had. I had the pleasure of meeting with Stark County Recorder and Navy veteran Rick Campbell, and he talked to me about their Veterans ID card. And it was then that I promised that I would make this one of the first initiatives in my office, and on May 17th, we made it a reality. Military discharges, or DD-214s, are a free optional recording in my office. Veterans need only bring their original or certified copy. We'll record it for free, where it'll be kept on permanent record for the veteran to access. We'll provide them with their original and a certified copy back. Now, for $1, veterans who have recorded their DD-214 in my office can also receive a United States Veteran Document Identification Card like the one that you see here to my right. This card has a photo of the veteran, the instrument number which corresponds to their DD-214 in my office, their ID card number, name, address, discharge type and date, branch of service, and dates of service. There's also a hologram on the front so that people can rest assured that it's an original form of identification. They also must bring 2 forms of identification to the office so that we can prove they are who they say they are. These can be an original birth certificate identification card issued by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, a military ID card, social security card, state-issued license or permit for a concealed carry weapon, or driver's license or state ID card. The Disabled American Veterans Chapter 3, Capital City, has even established an escrow account in my office to provide these free of charge to our low-income and homeless veterans so that every veteran can obtain this card. We rolled this program out on May 21st and 22nd at Veterans Memorial, and council members Craig and Paley were gracious enough to come by and meet with the hundreds of veterans that came through and even produce a few of the cards. And I'm sure that they can attest personally to the pride that our veterans have in being able to show their service and the overwhelming support for this ID card. Since that time, we've been producing the cards in my office, where we'll continue to do that Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the county courthouse at 373 South High Street on the 18th floor. To date, we've produced over 1,100 cards, and that's in just 2 short weeks. Our veterans appreciate being able to prove their service in a simple and easy to recognize format. This is true for all of our veterans, but especially our female veterans, where several have told me that people doubt their service to our country simply because they're a woman. Now they can simply pull the card out and be able to provide proof of their service. You know, I'm honored that my office is able to provide this new service to our veterans, and if anyone has questions about the Veterans ID card, they can call my office during normal business hours at 614-525-3930, and we'll be happy to provide them information about the ID card, and even, if necessary, arrange for free transportation to my office so they can obtain their card. Complete details are on our website at franklincountyohio.gov/recorder. I want to thank Council for this opportunity to speak to you about this program, and I look forward to being able to continue to provide this service for our veterans well into the future.
Recorder Brown, thank you so much for coming down tonight. Let me ask Councilmember Paley, you have comments before moving further.
Yes, Mr. Brown, I was down at Vets, and I saw hundreds and hundreds of veterans sitting there, and even though there was a line, they were just grateful to have the opportunity to have this card. And I want to thank you as a public servant for going above and beyond the call of duty to provide an extra service for our veterans. They were mighty happy to be there, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there other comments? Yes, Councilmember Klein.
Recorder Brown, I also just want to publicly applaud you for this effort. This is a very much just a common sense initiative that can go a long way to help those that have served this country. And I know you've been on the job for just a few months, but this is a really terrific start to your tenure as recorder, and extending this initiative to those that have served and are going to be able to provide a lot of opportunities for them. So congratulations, and thank you for the efforts that you're doing on behalf of our veterans. Thank you.
Other comments? Yes, Councilmember Tyson.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Craig, and just want to say congratulations to you, County Recorder Brown. This is it's an amazing way to be able to support our veterans, and I appreciate the comment you just gave about women, because oftentimes people don't believe that women are veterans, and for you to have made that highlight this evening, I thank you for that. And truly, just really being, it seems like it would not be something simple to do, but obviously it hasn't been done in the past. And just want to say congratulations to you for being innovative and to supporting our veterans. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Well, let me just thank you again. I had, as Councilmember Paley indicated, had the opportunity to be with you. And there were those that were in line and waiting until they got their identification. For those of us that have that DD 214, that means everything. This is no small thing. And so we certainly thank you. This is an extraordinary, visionary approach to, and some have said, certainly it seems it would be a simplistic thing to do, but it is so vitally important for many of us that are serving and for their families that we're able to get the appropriate identification, and certainly the honor that's being bestowed by the retailers of those that have served our nation. And so, again, I wanted to personally acknowledge your work and thank you for all that you're doing for the citizens, the residents of Franklin County. Thank you so much for coming down, Recorder Brown.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Next, I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Ron Lepstock. Mr. Lepstock is the Vice President of Housing Choice Vouchers for Veterans Affairs and for the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority. And he has an exciting initiative that he wants to talk about regarding our veterans and housing. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you today to talk a little bit about our HUD-VASH program. My name is Ron Lebstock, and I'm the Vice President of Housing Choice Vouchers at the Columbus Housing Authority. CMHA's mission is to serve the community by helping people access affordable housing.
Mr. Flipstock, if you will pull that mic a little closer to you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
By working with our collaborative partners, we're able to develop, renovate, and maintain housing, promote neighborhood revitalization, and assist residents in accessing needed social services. The HUD-VASH program fits perfectly as a complement to this mission of ours. In 2008, we began a partnership with HUD-VASH to provide housing assistance to Columbus area veterans who experience chronic homelessness. The HUD-VASH program provided the means necessary to address the housing needs of the veteran subpopulation that wasn't effectively being reached in any other method. Since 2008, Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority has aggressively pursued additional voucher awards in the VASH program. This year, we've just received another allocation of 60 additional vouchers, which brings our total to 230 VASH vouchers in the Columbus area, providing a little over $1 million annually in housing subsidy to our veterans. What makes the VASH program work in Columbus is the strength and depth of our partnerships. We are fortunate in Columbus to have a strong partner network that includes organizations like CMHA, the Community Shelter Board, HUD, the Veterans Administration, National Church Residents, Faith Mission, YMCA, and the VOA. We recognize that securing stable housing is the first step in the support needed for our veterans, but not the only supportive service that they will need. CMHA provides the housing resource that our partners provide the intensive case management services designed to improve the veterans' overall health and enhance their ability to remain stably housed and community integrated. In Columbus, our 2013 performance numbers from the HUD-VASH show that we're utilizing 98% of our vouchers in the community that are awarded to us, 79% of which are going to chronically homeless veterans. A key to the overall success of housing chronically homeless veterans is the time it takes from program entry, the time that they first show up at the VA, to the time that we get them into a house. In Columbus, we're seeing that time from admission to lease-up is 74 days. In Ohio, the VASH performance shows that overall, Ohio is turning units around at 101 days. So Columbus is doing a very good job at putting veterans in a home very quickly. Of that 74 days, the 64 days represent the time from the voucher issuance to the time that they become leased. So our veterans are out searching for homes, looking at different options, and finally securing housing. Columbus offers another unique advantage for the VASH program participants. Veterans in Columbus can seek a housing solution where on-site supportive services are available, or if they're a little bit more independent, they may seek a single-family home or an apartment where they can still receive services, but they have a little bit more independence. It really depends upon the individual veteran's case. Having a ready option means that we can better align the right housing alternative needed for supportive services to the unique solution for each veteran. CMHA has also been able to leverage project-based vouchers to extend its service to chronically homeless veterans. A project-based voucher provides a consistent rental subsidy to a development for an initial contract period of up to 15 years. It helps ensure that the project will be successful over the life of the project by giving it a rent base to where it can perform. The National Church Residence Commons at Livingston is an example of this. We have 50 units there today of permanent supportive housing supported by a project-based voucher contract, and they do provide on-site case management there to formerly homeless veterans. We're in the process of developing Commons at Livingston 2 at the same site, which will provide an additional 50 units at that same site for veterans. Since 2008, CMHA, with the strong support of its partners and the availability of VASH vouchers, has been able to expand the housing services available to the chronically homeless veterans in Columbus. With 230 VASH vouchers available in the community and another 100 project-based vouchers in place at Commons at Livingston, we're helping to address the needs of our homeless veterans. Looking forward, we will continue to leverage the strength of our partnerships to improve our service delivery and to find additional ways to help provide housing and supportive services to our homeless veterans. So I want to thank the council for having us here today and to be able to tell a little bit of our story.
Well, sure. Thank you so much for coming down tonight. There are comments from my colleagues. Again, we just, with the support of my council colleagues, we're being able to move forward with initiatives from council to support our men and women who have served our nation through housing initiatives. And as you well articulated, there are other collaboratives, National Church Residencies, certainly Columbus Metropolitan Housing, and others, Habitat for Humanity, and other services. We have more to do, and it's going to take all of us to do the work. But that's the least that we can do. To honor our men and women who have served our nation. And we so appreciate the work that you're doing, Columbus Metropolitan Housing, as a fiduciary for these current resources. Sir, thank you again for coming down to council, and we certainly look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
And last, I would just like to acknowledge the great work of the American Legion Southwest Post 144, who had the job fair last week. The participants were the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, the Department of Labor, Veterans Employment and Training Services, the Ohio Committee of the Employer Support of Guard and Reserves, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the American Legion, NBC News, and there were several colleges that were there. So they really had a very holistic process. to really provide opportunity, to create opportunity for our veterans. And thank you, sir, for the time tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. Councilmember Klein.
Yes, one resolution, 124X2013, that I'd like to move to table until June 24th, 2013.
Second.
Craig Klein, Miller, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
That's all. Thank you.
President Pro Tem Miller. Councilmember Paley.
I don't have a resolution this evening, President Ginther, but I do have a announcement. The city is seeking neighborhood input on the 2013 voted bond package. There has been 4 scheduled community meetings to discuss the city's proposed 5-year capital improvements program and gather input from residents about infrastructure needs in their neighborhoods. The meetings are scheduled for June 4th, which is tomorrow, at Marion Franklin Community Center, June 5th at Whetstone Community Center, June 11th at Barnett Community Center, and June 13th at Westgate Shelter House. Each meeting will last from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from the Mayor's Office, City Council, City Auditor, Public Safety, Recreation and Parks, Public Service, Public Utilities, Development, Finance and Management, and Development will be in attendance at those meetings. They are obviously open to the public, and we are looking forward to that input. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, President Ginther, and I have 2 resolutions this evening. The first resolution, and as I'm beginning to read it, I'm going to ask the recipients of this resolution to start moving toward the podium. If Kathy Spatz, B. Tolber, Teresa Langer, Selma Gilman, who is retired now, and Terrell Spencer will all move towards the podium, that would be great. And the resolution is to recognize the week of June 2nd through June 8th of 2013 as Leadership Week in Columbus, and to commend the Columbus Public Service Chapter of the National Management Association, the Leadership Development Organization, on their 32nd anniversary, and to applaud their leadership efforts in support of this observance in Columbus. Whereas June 2nd through the 8th of 2013 is the 35th annual observance of Leadership Week in America by the National Management Association, which is the largest nonprofit organization of this type, a professional organization dedicated to leadership, business excellence, personal and professional growth, and fellowship among more than 25,000 members. And whereas the City of Columbus recognizes the importance of the exchange of ideas and discussion of leadership challenges and solutions have on the vitality of the community's economy and quality of life through increased productivity, competition, and growth. Whereas the Columbus Public Service Chapter is a public sector chapter of the National Management Association, whose members strive to uphold the principles of the organization through lifelong learning, leadership development, and skills training, networking, and mentoring. And whereas the international observance of Leadership Week will encourage leaders to increase their competence, inspire peers, and foster better understanding of management and professional leadership. Now, therefore, National Management Association will use its national convention as a forum to highlight and promote leadership as a viable and thriving profession. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby recognize the week of June 2nd through June 8th of 2013 as the National Management Association Leadership Week in Columbus, and commend the Columbus Public Service Chapter of the National Management Association for their efforts in leadership and support of the City of Columbus. I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Teresa Langer, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Good afternoon, Council President Ginther, council members, elected officials, and everyone in the audience. We appreciate the opportunity to stand here once again in our 32 years of existence and accept this proclamation. We strive to do the best that we can for the city and for the citizens, And in cooperation with our members, we have networked together to do many things. Just last month, or April, actually April 24th, we had a big effort with Recreation and Parks where a lot of our members pulled together to help out with a reconstruction of a playground where Councilmember Craig was knee-deep in mud. So that was a networking opportunity for our members to help out with that department. We network with DOT on various computer issues. We support Neighborhood Pride with our events and have their catering capabilities. We have training, which we work in cooperation with the city so that our trainings don't interfere with other trainings, but I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. But we are just appreciative of being here today. And my colleagues, if anybody would like to say anything. Anyone? Thanks you as well. So,
Well, thank you. Let's
Thank you
introduce your
very much.
colleagues to the viewing and listening audience.
oh, I'm sorry. To my left here is Kathy Spatz. She's our national director. Terrell Spencer, a member of our board. B. Tolber, past president, and Seema Gelman, retired, but we're not letting her be retired. She's our public relations newsletter chairperson. And I'm president, once again.
Thank you so very much for your service to our city. And let's mention which areas they represent. I know Fleet.
Kathy Spatz is with Recreation and Parks. Terrell is with Fleet and Finance Management. B is with Department of Public Utilities, Sewerage and Drainage, and Seema is formerly DOT.
All right.
And Rec and Parks.
Thank you. Thank you for the service that you did for us, Seema, but also for the rest of you. Thank you for being integral parts to making sure that sharing how important leadership is and training us to the employees of the city of Columbus. It makes us a great city because of the work that you do to continue to move forward with being lifelong learners and being lifelong learners, as well as all the other nonprofit work and volunteer work that you're doing within our community. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I have another resolution, and as I'm beginning to read it, I'm going to ask a number of individuals to come to the podium. These are individuals who are from GCAC, and I see Jamie Goldstein, Scott Huntley, Tom Katzenmeyer, the new president and CEO for GCAC. And this resolution is also being sponsored by Councilmember Paley, who also serves on the board with me at GCAC. This resolution is Resolution 0127X-2013. It's to celebrate the 53rd anniversary of the Columbus Arts Festival to be held June 7th through June 9th on the Columbus Riverfront and Scioto Mile. Whereas the 52nd year of the Columbus Arts Festival, presented by Time Warner Cable and produced by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, will transform the Columbus Riverfront into a stunning outdoor art gallery with the nation's top artists displaying their work and attracting art enthusiasts from all over the country. Whereas the festival will feature gourmet food from the city's finest restaurants and showcase the work of local and emerging artists, providing out-of-town guests with a sample of the city's finest cuisine and culture. Whereas more than 50 live musical and entertainment acts representing a broad spectrum of genres will perform over the course of a 3-day festival. And whereas the festival attendees and families will have the opportunity to create their own art in a series of hands-on workshops involving clay, paper making, drawing, and more. And whereas young professionals and adults will have a chance to interact with Columbus's independent arts groups and artists. And whereas the festival nurtures tomorrow's artists by exhibiting artwork by students from across Central Ohio, whereas the festival will host a children's gallery where children 12 and under may purchase original artwork donated by festival artists for $5 or less. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby recognize the 52nd anniversary of the Columbus Arts Festival for its unique contribution to the culture and the economy of the city, and encourages residents and visitors to attend and participate in the festival. I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you, Tom and Jamie and Scott. The podium is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther, Councilwoman Tyson, members of council, esteemed guests in the audience. I'm simply here to thank you. In 4 days, we will welcome 400,000 people to the riverfront. We could not do this without you, without the cooperation of city government, notably Parks and Rec and Public Safety, who are sitting behind us here, but many, many others. We will have almost 300 artists this year. That's up from 237 last year. We will have a whole litany of activities, as you just reflected in your comments. There will be something for everyone. Jamie is Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the Arts Council, and Scott is actually the festival director. So Scott spends the entire year putting this event together, so I laud both of them for their efforts on this. I also want to thank Councilwoman Tyson and Councilwoman Paley for their service on our board, and Pam O'Grady, who is also in the audience. I'd like to thank her, and I think I saw Christy Angel here too. So we have 4 of our board members in the audience today too. But mostly this is a shout out and a thank you to council and all the support that GCAC gets from the city. So thank you very much. And we hope to see you all down on the river. I think I sent everyone a note. I'd love to take you personally around and in a golf cart, or we can walk, whatever you'd like to do. But thank you very much.
What are the hours of the events for the listening and viewing audience?
On Friday, this coming Friday, June 7th, we open at 11 a.m. and we go until 10:30 p.m. Saturday, basically the same hours. We have a great concert by Watershed at the Bicentennial Stage at 9 p.m. Saturday night, a great local band. And Sunday, I think we close at 5, getting the hand signals. So,
all right, thank you, Councilman
thank you
Paley.
again, everyone.
I am so looking forward to the Arts Festival. It's one of the premier events for the city, and I just want to thank Scott for all he's done with the festival. Gee, all through the year he has a glimmer in his eye, and you know that he's really working hard to make new and exciting things happen on our riverfront, and I can't wait to see what you've done this year. So for those of you who have not been down to the riverfront for the Arts Festival, it is a fabulous event. And I know that we took into consideration price points this year so people could afford to purchase the pieces of art from these vendors. So let's support them so that they continue to come back and visit and feed into our economy and our culture and arts. So thank you all, both Jamie, Tom, and Scott, for all that you've done to bring this fabulous event to our city. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you.
And just lastly, I just want to comment on Councilman Paley's comments. It is so important. It is so important that with this new the voted bond package, that we have citizen input. It gives our citizens an opportunity to help us to shape the voted bond package by expressing their opinions at these public forums. And because of the city has many needs, that it's so important that people get involved, because it will help us to prioritize those capital needs for our community. And so please come out. Councilman Paley stated the times and the dates, so please come out and share your support. Thank you. President Ginther, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any comments from our elected officials. I'm not sure if Ms. Megan Kilgore has ever sat since I've been in this chair, but welcome, representing the City Auditor's Office. Any comments from the City Auditor this evening? City Attorney Pfeiffer? Judge Barros? Thank you, Judge. Are there any additional requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution from the consent action portion of the agenda? If not, may we have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk?
So move.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee, Ordinance 1243-2013. Development Committee, Ordinances 1239, 1268, 1269-2013. Technology Committee, Ordinance 1082-2013. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Ordinances 1257 and 1331-2013. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 1160, 1196, 1241, and 1255-2013. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 968, 1129, 1162, 1207, 1214, 1216-2013. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 1245, 1280, 1291, 1305, 1306, and 1312-2013.
The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Resolutions of Expression 0119X-2013, 0128X, and 0129X-2013. Finance Committee, Ordinances 1084 and 1117-2013. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinances 1148, 1200, and 1235-2013. Development Committee, Ordinances 1173, 1175, 1176, 1233, 1283-2013. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinances 1057, 1230-2013. Technology Committee, Ordinance 973-2013. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Ordinances 1123, 1161, 1168, 1172, 1205, 1213, 1307, 1308-2013. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Resolution 120X-2013. Ordinances 1009, 1149, 1157, 1158, 1179, 1197, 1210, 1222, 1224, 1229, 1238, 1271, 1272, 1273-2013. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 772, 838, 1039, 1097, 1100, 1154, 1254, 1262-2013, and appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0066, 68, and 92-2013.
Thank you. We do have 3 consent agenda speakers this evening. Our first consent agenda speaker is Dr. Young-Chen Liu. Dr. Liu, welcome back to Council Chambers. If you'd come forward to the podium, sir. Looks like you have signed up to speak on in support of 1057-2013. If you'd introduce yourself, any organizations you represent. So you have 3 minutes to address the ordinance.
This is Young-Chen Liu with Manju Sankrapa and Bill Connor with me. We had our Asian Festival last week. I think maybe you heard that we broke every record, and the most important thing is that we let everyone happy. I think that is the bottom line, and we really want to do that from the bottom of our heart. However, without your support, there's no chance that we can have such a successful event. And we want, actually, we are the largest Asian festival in the whole country, but we want to be the best Asian festival with your support for next year, 20th anniversary. And I want to plant a seed in your head to support us even bigger for next year. Thank you so much.
I assume, Dr. Liu, this is not the last we'll hear from you. I think also we have Mr. Vincente had signed up to speak as well. I'm not sure, was it on this issue you wanted to speak, Mr. Vicente? Give you an opportunity since you're already up there.
Okay, thank you, Council President Ginther. Good evening, Council President Ginther, members of the City Council. My name is Josue Vicente, and I'm the Executive Director of the Ohio Hispanic Coalition, a nonprofit organization addressing the needs of in Central Ohio Latino community. On behalf of the Ohio Hispanic Coalition and the Mexican Fiesta Festival, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address you and as well to thank you for continued support. As you know, the City of Columbus and Franklin County have both enjoyed a tremendous growth in the Latino population in the last several years. This growth is very much evidenced in the increase of diversity within the Latino Hispanic population, which is representative of all 21 Latino American countries. The 2010 census reports indicates that a total of 55,718 residents in Franklin County are Hispanic Latinos, and out of those numbers, 31,905 are Mexican nationals, constituting 57.26% of the entire Latino community in Central Ohio. The Mexican community in Columbus and Franklin County reflects the national levels of the Hispanic Latino population, which constitutes 63% nationwide. Celebrating and supporting the contribution of this community through activities and festivals such as the Mexican Fiesta reflects on the support and the inclusive culture of the City of Columbus. On behalf of the Ohio Hispanic Coalition and the overall of the Hispanic Latino community in Columbus and Central Ohio, I extend to you our deepest gratitude for their support and invite you to come and celebrate with us on September 14, 2013 at Bicentennial Park, where Mexican Fiesta will be celebrating the second anniversary of the Latino American Independence Day as well, including but not limited to the Mexican independence. Fiesta Mexicana will also open in the national observance of National Hispanic Heritage Month here in the United States and obviously here in the city. Gracias.
Thank you all very much for coming down and sharing your thoughts. Chairman Klein, I know that Councilmember Tyson co-sponsored this legislation. Do either of you have any comments? Or Director McKnight, I know, has been working closely with all of these groups as well as other folks in city services. Councilmember Tyson?
Thank you, President Ginther. I just want to say thank you to these individuals for the work that they do in our community in regards to these festivals. I know Bill Connor has not spoken, but he and ACAPA help to, they really run, working with recreation parks, the Festival Latina. And it's just really important that, I think that Josue just mentioned, that we are certainly a city that appreciates and values the diverse populations and communities within the city of Columbus, and certainly enjoy having these festivals to be able to share the culture of the different individuals and groups of people who live in our city. And so I thank you for your leadership and hosting these events, because it's not easy work. It requires a lot of work, a lot of volunteers to be able to support it, but we certainly are a richer community because of the festivals. And so thank you. We're very proud to be able to support you, and thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming down tonight and for your service to the community.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker on the consent agenda this evening, and I don't have the last name, but based on the first name, the handwriting, and the address, I'm thinking it's Mr. Nathaniel Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins has signed up to speak on Ordinance 1233-2013. Mr. Wilkins, if you just share your name, address, any organizations you represent. Sir, you have 3 minutes to speak to the ordinance.
I want to say thank you again, once again. Nate Wilkins, Chairman of Solely Vacant and Abandonment Properties. I just got two questions. I would like to know who's going to maintain this property, and also what will it be used for. And again, I'm for this, not against it. Once again, thank you again.
Any council members have any questions for Mr. Wilkins? If not, I guess I'll maybe welcome Director Shoney to City Council as a new member of the Mayor's Cabinet. Welcome. I'm not sure if you're prepared to speak to this legislation this evening to answer or elaborate on some of the points made by Mr. Wilkins, and if not, if you wouldn't mind following up with council in writing after the meeting, I'd appreciate it.
Being as this is my first day on the job, I am not prepared to speak directly to this. However, my staff and I will follow up with you in writing regarding these matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. I knew I was putting you on the spot, but I figured I'd treat you the same way I do all the other directors. So. There any other questions or comments regarding the consent agenda portion of the agenda? If not, entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Consent agenda carries. We now proceed with the second reading of 30-day table and emergency legislation. The first committee is the Finance Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. The first ordinance and the only ordinance in finance is 1330-2013 to authorize the Director of Finance to enter into a sale contract providing for the conveyance of the city's interest in that real property known as 618 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County, tax parcel ID 010-003663 to Pizzuti Short North Hotel, LLC, to execute a quitclaim deed conveying such property and associated easements, and to enter into and execute other documents pertinent to such conveyance, and to the extent applicable to waive the competitive bidding and land review commission requirements of the Columbus City Codes of 1959, revised, and to declare an emergency. In March of 2012, City Council authorized the Director of Development to enter into an economic development agreement with Pizzuti Short North LLC. This agreement outlined plans and commitments relating to proposed mixed-use commercial development that encompasses both sides of a two-block area of North High Street in the Short North near downtown Columbus. This project will include construction of it's a $59 million investment. This project will include construction of $33 million boutique hotel, a $12 million Class A office building, $12 million parking structure, which with approximately 313 public parking spaces, and $12 million renovation of the United Commercial Travelers headquarters, which now houses a Pizzuti collection gallery. This legislation before us this evening authorizes the Director of Finance to enter into a real estate contract with Pizzuti Short North Hotel, LLC, and to execute a quitclaim deed to convey this parcel of land in consideration of the developer's construction of 313 spaces public parking garage. This will also require the developer to execute an agreement to reimburse the city in the amount of $125,000 annually for a term of 5 years for the displacement of the existing 40 parking meters and currently located at 618 North High Street. We're asking for this to be emergency justification because emergency action is required to expedite the redevelopment of this Pizzuti project and the construction of the hotel and public parking garage. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. The next ordinance, which is in Human Services, can I move? Is that fine to move to that? Thank you. Is 1151-2013 to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Ohio Humanities Council to implement a guided walking tour program called Columbus Art Walks and Landmark Talks in the amount of $2,000 to authorize the appropriation of $2,000 to the Health Department in the city's private grants fund and to declare an emergency. This grant will allow the walks to be offered by Columbus Landmarks Foundation for free. And usually there's a charge for the Art Walk program, so this removes the barrier to participation. And
an existing auditor certificate in the amount of $60,000 for services associated with the Graffiti Abatement Assistance Program and to declare an emergency. This will be year 2 of our Graffiti Abatement Program. By all measures, I think not only in numbers, but also in the word on the street and talking with folks whose neighborhoods were plagued with graffiti, and then with council's work of initiating the graffiti abatement program. In 2012, there's been a significant change in the neighborhoods, even driving around, and a noticeable difference of the lack of graffiti that really was plaguing our neighborhoods and really percolated to the top through many of the community meetings that we had across Columbus and hearing, no matter where you lived in the city, the graffiti vandalism was a concern in all compass directions. In 2012, we had 118 completed graffiti remediations. We got off to a little later start, and we had to stop in the winter due to the inclement weather. So there were 100 carryovers, and we just started this May with the weather turning. Getting into those 100, and even since May, we've received approximately 20 more requests. So we'll be working through those, and the Department of Development is doing a terrific job in partnering with council to ensure that our neighborhoods are safe, our neighborhoods are strong, and they're free of graffiti, because I'm a firm believer in the broken window theory, and if there's graffiti vandalism, among other things, it opens the door to not only economic depression, but also perhaps additional or more criminal activity. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Craig?
Let me just acknowledge your leadership on this issue, Chairman Klein. There was considerable discussion, a lot of public debate regarding this matter. And this has been very results-oriented. And certainly for all of the citizens and the residents that's been served by this, it was a concerted effort, certainly by council with your leadership, to really bore down on this issue, to, as you say, not just simply the bricks and mortar issue, but continuing to make our neighborhoods safer, more attractive, and a quality of life issue. So again, I think we're moving forward in a terrific way. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you for the kind words, Councilmember Craig. I would like to note that if you're watching, the process is still similar to the previous one. You can call 311 to initiate graffiti remediation. This is a complaint-driven process. We have worked diligently with the Department of Development and the contractor to try to speed up the remediation process, but to ensure that we're getting the best bang for the taxpayer dollars. There is a process to be involved, because it's incumbent upon us to be prudent as we spend your money to ensure that we're getting the services that we contract for. But the process is similar on the front end, that the consumer will see, and that person or the citizen should call 311 in order to initiate the graffiti complaint process. We'll have someone come out, and we'll have the graffiti remediated as soon as possible. Seeing no other questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
1208-2013 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a contract with STR LLC or its subsidiary STR Grants LLC to provide a database system for the Land Redevelopment Office in accordance with the sole source procurement provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $55,000 from the Housing Preservation Fund, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of $25,000 from the Land Management Fund, and to declare an emergency. Director Shoney, I know it is your first day on the job, but do you have any insight on this particular piece of software and why we'd be seeking sole source?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, and members of council. The purpose of going sole source on this is that this is a specialized database. There is not another alternative on the market that provides the off-the-shelf capabilities for land banking. In talking with staff, one of the things that's also additionally particularly exciting about this is this software is turned into a forum for those communities that are doing land banking to have some interchange and adopt best practices very quickly across the land banking community. So we're excited about this as an opportunity. The alternative would have been to develop this in-house. And in speaking with the city's IT team, we didn't think that was near as efficient or productive an option.
Thank you, Director. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Second.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Finally, in development, 1237-2013, and as I read the legislation, I'd like to invite Kenny McDonald to come forward to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a contract with Columbus 2020 for economic development activities associated with business attraction, relocation, expansion, and retention, as well as other activities related to the city's continued interest in workforce development, marketing, and entrepreneurship, to authorize the expenditure of $700,000 from the general fund and to declare an emergency. Welcome back to Council, Mr. McDonald.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'd like to turn the microphone over to you to give us some highlights and updates on how the city's money is being invested and being spent over at 2020.
Thank you. President Ginther, members of council, first of all, thank you for your tremendous support and leadership and really your direct engagement in the plan as it continues to evolve and improve and grow. Your active engagement is not only appreciated, but it's absolutely necessary for us to be successful. So thank you very much for all that you're doing every day to help us. Your investment is first being leveraged with over 250 private businesses and over $3 million invested by the private sector into our plan each year. And so that's very important to understand. It also joins almost 34 public nonprofit organizations from across 11 counties that have decided that they want to join in our effort to increase job creation, capital investment, and to raise per capita income across the region. We're tracking very nicely. So I will first maybe point to some numbers for 2012, which was a terrific year for the Columbus region for many reasons. First of all, I think in February we were had the fourth ranked economy in the country for job creation. That's due to a wonderful 2012 where we not only got a lot of attention from the national press because of the presidential election and all of this, and we leveraged that into a lot of business success, but we added almost 2,700 direct jobs through the involvement with working with your staff and helped to retain over 3,800 jobs on almost 35 projects that we worked on together. The capstone of that was an announcement in November of the IBM Advanced Analytics Center here in Columbus, where over 500 jobs were announced, and the average salaries of those jobs was over $80,000. Your direct involvement, your incentives for that are critically important to the project. Your continued engagement with IBM and the companies that you work with every day continues to be a big part of their success. So I want to thank you for your involvement in that. There's a few things happening. We'll be actually with Mayor Coleman in New York and Director Cavan as one of the 7 intelligent communities in the world, going to New York and seeing if we can win a competition to be named the most intelligent city in the world. We are the only city in the U.S. Toronto joins us as the only other place in North America as one of the most intelligent places in the world. We have a number of things set up while we're in New York, but I think it speaks to not only doing things right and smart, but it means that we're being aggressive and we're actively pursuing those things. And by the way, we can compete. When we actually apply for those types of things and show the world what we're doing, the world is taking notice, and we're getting the attention I think that we deserve because of the hard work through the public-private partnerships that we continue to work on every day. I also want to make a special note to say that your active engagement in education is critically important to our economic development efforts. What you're doing in that realm makes a big difference in our economic development efforts and sends exactly the right message to the business world, which is we're going to have the talent to service the kind of projects that we're working on. A final note is that we have a lot of work to do. As of this morning, I think over 67,000 full-time jobs were posted for our metropolitan region on Ohio Means Jobs. And so your continued investment, your continued engagement is very critical to our efforts. And I want to just thank you again for your involvement, and we welcome any participation or any questions you may have with regard to our activities.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Any questions or comments? Well, I can't think of any more significant partner than Columbus 2020 as I discuss and talk and think about the city of Columbus's job policy, whether it comes to recruitment, retention. We partner together to make that happen, and I certainly appreciate your partnership. And as we develop and continue our jobs initiatives and seek companies to come to Columbus, and we work with our current businesses, small to large, to ensure that they have the resources necessary. We got to do it together, and I appreciate the presentation and look forward to our continued relationship together.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman Klein. And to Kenny, I wanted to say, obviously ditto to the comments that Councilmember Klein just made, but I appreciate the work that you're doing around workforce development, helping us to, providing information to us and to help us to identify the needs of our future workforce, and in helping us to make sure we're training those individuals to get those jobs. So I thank you for your work around that area and just the leadership that you're doing in our community overall to ensure that individuals can prepare to take care of their families and move our city forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Craig?
Let me just join in acknowledging your work, Kenny, with this. It isn't ongoing. It's not a program. It's not an initiative. This is an extremely important public-private partnership. And I think, it's already been said. What happens here is the very strong, significant quality of life for our children and our families. This will not just be for us, but for our children's children. This is a great city, but if we're going to continue on the path that is important for all of us, it's going to require the kind of very strategic thinking, the very strong planning and commitment from all of us to ensure that we continue on this path. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for coming down. Move for passage.
Second.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Moving on to Rec and Parks, Mr. President. One piece of legislation tonight in Recreation and Parks, 1204-2013, to authorize an appropriation in the amount of $24 million from the unappropriated balance of the Recreation and Parks Grant Fund to the Recreation and Parks Department to provide home care assisted living services to older adults in connection with the pre-admission screening system, providing options and resources today, which is commonly known as Passport, and the assisted living Medicaid waiver programs in Central Ohio, and to declare an emergency. This is an annual appropriation, but we can't stress enough the resources that Passport provides to those that need it. Passport provides home care services as an alternative to nursing home stays, which nursing home stays, they're very important, but they're very costly. And Passport provides that alternative to bring down the cost, but yet maintain a high level of care in home where the patient feels more comfortable being at home and can help with recovery, help with treatment for Medicaid eligible clients. These things include case management, adult daycare, meals, personal care, and transportation. And as of today, there's approximately 4,500 individuals in Central Ohio that take advantage of Passport. So if you know someone that you think is Passport eligible, I encourage you to call the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging and get them enrolled. See what COAAA can do to ensure that they have a strong quality of life. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And that's all in Recreation and Parks. Thank you, President Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. Our next committee is the Small and Minority Business Development Committee. President Pro Tem Miller chairs the committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In the Small and Minority Business Development Committee, we have one item. It's 1265-2013 to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of $50,000 from the Jobs Growth Fund to implement the Responsible Contracting Outreach Project, to authorize and direct the Executive Director of the Equal Business Opportunity Commission Office to develop and implement the Responsible Contracting Outreach Project, and to declare an emergency. The Responsible Contracting Outreach Project is there to assist Columbus-based small business owners, and that's including minority, female, and veteran-based enterprises, in meeting and exceeding the standards established in the Chapter 329 of the Columbus City Codes. The program also will be there to help give specific attention in providing information to these small businesses in regarding to access to health insurance, retirement plans, licensing, bonding, and employee training. And this is an exciting opportunity for really for the small business owners within Columbus to understand exactly what these standards are. And this is, again, an opportunity that really, I think that City Council, through our Small Business Roundtable, have received information from small business owners in Columbus, exactly how council can help them. And this is just another example of what City Council is achieving in doing that. Do we have any other comments from other council members? If not, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Mr. President, can I proceed to technology? In Technology Committee, we have 1198-2013 to authorize the Finance and Management Director to enter into one contract for the option to purchase long-distance communication services, to authorize expenditure of $1 to establish the contract from the Mail Print Services and UTC Fund to waive the competitive bidding provisions of Chapter 329 of the Columbus City Codes, 1959, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And that is all we have in Technology Committee, President Ginther.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And if you're ready to go into zoning, if you need any, I'd entertain a motion to recess regular meeting number 30.
So moved.
Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
We will reconvene for regular meeting number 31 for the Zoning Committee in just a moment. Regular meeting number 31 will now come to order. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Are there any communications and reports received by the city clerk?
No, there are not.
Are there any first readings of 30-day legislation?
No, there are not.
We will now go to the Zoning Committee. President Pro Tem Miller chairs the committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In the Zoning Committee tonight, we have two items. The first one is 1003-2013 to rezone 1469 Hilliard Rome Road East, being .465 plus or minus acres, located on the southeast corner of Hilliard Rome Road East and Trebu Road, from C4 Commercial District to LARLD Limited Apartment Residential District. The applicant is Homeport, Ohio. The proposed use is a multi-unit residential development. It received a Development Commission recommendation for approval and also the City Department recommendation for approval. And I have no speaker slips. And if there's no questions or comments, I would like to first request to waive second reading.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I would like to move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And last is 1163-2013 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 333.2.039 R4 residential district use, 3312.25, maneuvering area, 3332.15, R4 area district requirements, 3332.19, fronting, 3332.26C3, minimum side yard permitted of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1354 Ida Avenue to permit one 3-unit dwelling and 1 unit dwelling in 2 separate buildings for a total of 4 units on the same lot with reduced development standards in the R4 residential district. The applicant is 1354 Ida Avenue LLC. The proposed use is construct a 3-unit dwelling and a 1-unit carriage house on 1 lot in the R4 residential district with reduced development standards. It received a 5th by Northwest Area Commission recommendation for approval and also the City Department recommendation for approval. And I have no speaker slips. If there are no questions or comments, I'd like to first request to waive second reading.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I'd like to move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And that is all we have in zoning, President Ginther.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
We stand adjourned. We will reconvene regular meeting number 30 momentarily. Regular meeting number 30, to entertain a motion to reconvene. Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
We are reconvened. Our next committee is the Public Safety and Judiciary Committee. Councilmember Klein will be bringing legislation to us this evening. Councilmember Klein.
Thank you, President Ginther. 2 pieces of legislation on public safety and judiciary tonight. The first is 1020-2013 to amend the 2013 capital improvement budget to authorize the transfer of $1,568,000 between projects within the Construction Management Capital Improvement Fund and the Government BAB Fund to authorize the Finance and Management Director to modify and extend a contract on behalf of the Office of Construction Management with the Design Group for professional services for Phase 1 renovations at the Municipal Court Building, 375 South High Street, to authorize the expenditure of $1,568,000 from the Construction Management Capital Improvement Fund and the Government BAB, the Build America Bond Funds, and to declare an emergency. I know that Judge Barrows is here. Is there any comments you'd like to make about getting a renovation at the Municipal Courthouse?
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. President Ginther, members of council, thank you so much. The Municipal Court Building was constructed in 1978. It's 35 years old, and it's beginning to show some signs of wear. We went through an extensive process with the assistance of the Finance Director of Finance and the Finance Department over the last couple of years. This is the very first steps towards actually upgrading that building and bringing it into the 21st century. It's going to make it ADA compliant, as well as cleaning it up and buffing it up as the city obtains ownership from it from the county. So on behalf of my brothers and sisters at the court, we are very, very grateful to the City of Columbus and to City Council for getting this project started. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Any question or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Finally, 1071-2013 to authorize municipal court clerk to enter into a contract with 3SG Corporation for the provision of software maintenance and software for the Franklin County Municipal Court imaging system, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $41,268.90 from the Municipal Court Clerk Computer Fund, and to declare an emergency. Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And that's it in public safety and judiciary. Thank you, President Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. Our next committee is the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Paley chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. And Public Service and Transportation this evening, we have Ordinance 1010-2013 to authorize the Finance Management Director to enter into one contract for the purchase of 14 single-axle dump trucks with the compressed natural gas option from FIDA Freightliner Columbus Incorporated to amend the 2013 capital improvement budget to authorize the city auditor to cancel an auditor certificate in the amount of $2,295,778.04 within the Street and Highway Bonds Fund, and to authorize the transfer of funds and the expenditure of $2,562,084 from the Street and Highway Geo Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have Ordinance 1013-2013 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish separate purchase orders for the purchase of 2 pneumatic rubber tire rollers and 1 compact grader from Rudd Equipment Company, to waive competitive bidding for the purchase of 2 pneumatic rubber tire rollers, and to authorize the expenditure of $266,263 from the Street Highway Improvement Fund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, we have Ordinance 1137-2013 to authorize the Director of Public Service to modify the collection services of yard waste and recyclables contract with Rumpke of Ohio to add collection of city-owned recycling receptacles as a service covered by the contract, and to authorize the expenditure of $20,000 to pay for this service through February 28, 2014, and to declare an emergency. This type of recyclable collection route is new to the city. Rumpke has agreed to do the collection as a pilot program for $20,000 to the end of February 2014. The pilot program will be used to determine if the collection services of these receptacles should continue as part of the Rumpke contracted service for yard waste and recyclables, or if a bid for these services should be issued. The new receptacles will be installed along both sides of the street from 333 West Broad Street to 250 East Broad Street downtown, and from 410 South High Street downtown to 2661 North High Street at Doddridge Street. Installation is expected to begin in June of 2013 and will be performed by the Division of Planning and Operations. The recyclables that will be initially serviced under this ordinance were purchased as part of the Mayor's Get Green Columbus initiative. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and his team for their leadership on this project and for helping Columbus become a cleaner, healthier, and greener city. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Next, I have Ordinance 1180-2013 to authorize the City of Columbus, acting through the Director of Public Service, to enter into an agreement with Red, White, and Boom Incorporated to declare the responsibilities for each party concerning the Red, White, and Boom 2013 event, and to refund deposited funds after final accounting has occurred, and to declare an emergency. Red, White, and Boom has become a highly anticipated signature event in the City of Columbus throughout its existence, and annually attended by crowds exceeding 500,000 people. The Department of Public Service crews do the following before, during, and after Red, White, and Boom on July 3rd. We bag over 1,000 parking meters, install over 300 temporary no stopping signs, staff the Traffic Management Center until 2 a.m. to assist placing signals on flash and coordinating traffic signals, work with Columbus Police to create outbound traffic patterns to allow nearly 500,000 people to exit from multiple viewing locations around the City of Columbus, oversee the installation of traffic control cones, signage, and barricades for all road closures, ensure that all streets are cleaned up and reopened by 8 a.m. the next morning, and remove the parking meter bags and sweep the downtown streets after the event. The Division of Refuse Collection will have a crew work the following morning to ensure that all of the litter receptacles in the surrounding area are serviced. They also scan the entire event to make sure that all refuse issues are resolved before we release the private hauler from the scene. On another holiday note, the Department of Public Service crews will bag and unbag the parking meters on July 4th for the 30th annual Doodah Parade, and the crews from the Division of Refuse Collection will collect litter along High Street in the Short North before and the parade begins and in the morning. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and the city crews for helping Red, White, and Boom continue to be a huge success and a destination event for the city of Columbus. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1209, 2013, to amend the 2013 capital improvements budget to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation between projects within the Street and Highway Bonds Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with Newcomer Concrete Services Incorporated for the bikeway development Henderson Road, Olentangy River Road to Kenny Road project, to provide for the payment of construction administration and inspection services in connection with the project, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $817,725.47 from the Street and Highway Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. This project consists of building a concrete shared use path, light pole relocation, pavement markings, and signage on the north side of Henderson Road between Kenny Road and Olentangy River Road. This work will include a small concrete path that will be built to connect the southwest corner of Henderson Road and Olentangy River Road intersection with a service road that runs north and south along the west side of Olentangy River Road. Also included are segments of a retaining wall from the east of Kenny Road to east of Knightsbridge Boulevard, and a modular retaining wall for the 500 feet west of Laurelville Drive. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and his team for their leadership on this project and for helping the city of Columbus to become a bike and pedestrian-friendly community. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1209, 2013. Well, we just did that. 1221, 2013, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with Contract Sweepers and Equipment Company, and to provide for the pavement of construction, administration, and inspection services in the connection with the Bridge Cleaning and Sealing 2013 project, and to authorize the expenditure of up to a maximum of $350,000 from the Street Construction Maintenance and Repair Fund and the Municipal Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Bridge Cleaning and Sealing 2013 project consists of cleaning and sealing various bridges around the city of Columbus. A successful bridge program seeks a balanced approach to preservation and replacement, focusing only on replacing deficient bridges while ignoring preservation needs will be insufficient and cost prohibitive in the long run. The objective of good bridge preservation program is to employ cost-effective strategies and actions to maximize the usefulness of our bridges. Applying the appropriate bridge preservation treatment, such as cleaning and sealing, at the appropriate time can extend bridge usefulness and lower the lifetime cost for the bridge. Work for this project includes cleaning the scroopers and basically drains and keeps the water off the bridge surface. The sealing also protects the roads from the water. This maintenance work will extend the lives and improve the appearance of several bridges. It will also further ensure the safety of motorcyclists and bicyclists and pedestrians. Work on this project will begin on June 27, 2013. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have ordinance 1227, 2013, to amend the 2013 capital improvement budget to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation within the streets and highway bond fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to modify and increase an existing contract with HNTB Ohio for professional services for the traffic signal installation, Columbus Traffic Signal Phase C project, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,100,000 from the Street and Highway GO Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, we have ordinance 1234, 2013, to amend the 2013 capital improvements budget to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation between projects within the Street and Highway Bond Fund, to authorize the city auditor to appropriate funds within the Street and Highway Improvement Fund, and to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract with Dan Burt Incorporated for the roadway improvements Neal Avenue, to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,155,065 from the Street Highway Bonds Fund, and to authorize the expenditure of up to $198,026.43 from the Street and Highway Improvement Fund, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
That's all we have in public service and transportation. May I move on to public utilities? In public utilities, we have ordinance 1164, 2013, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with Complete General Construction Company for the Pizzuti Short North Utility Improvement Project, and to authorize the city auditor to cancel AC 034022, and to authorize the city auditor to transfer cash and appropriation between the projects within the Street and Highway Bond Fund, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,532,915.66 from the Street and Highway Bond Fund for the Pizzuti Short North Project's Utility Improvements Project, and to amend the 2013 capital improvement budget, and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
That's all we have in public utilities this evening, President Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. Is there anything else to come before Council this evening? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein Miller, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
We stand in adjournment. We have a couple of non-agenda speakers we'll take momentarily.